So you can only see it in certain places. You have to be just the right place. That's the main reason. But also, of course, everything has to line up. You have to have the Earth, Moon, Sun in a perfect line. That's also rare. So for the two rare things to happen in any one place on Earth, it just doesn't happen very often.
Which is why, as I was saying, last total one in Montreal, 1932, next one, 2205.
Yes.
Exceptional events.
Yes, these are truly exceptional. Now, if you are someone who's a huge fan of eclipses, you can, in 2044, there will be a total solar eclipse on the North American continent, visible in the western part of Canada, so not in Montreal. But 2044, eclipse hunters will have a place to go.
So that's it. We've moved on from today's eclipse. We're excited about the next one.
Right.
We're looking forward to the next
Always
one now.
planning ahead, yeah.
Have you seen an eclipse before, total?
I have never seen a total eclipse. I am so excited for today. Now, I actually was in a place where there was a total eclipse when I was 5 years old. We lived in Tel Aviv, and there was a total solar eclipse there, but my mom shut all the blinds because she was worried and afraid of it, and so I didn't get to see the eclipse.
Eye damage?
Yeah, I don't think she really knew. I think, in reality, with eclipse glasses, there's absolutely no problem looking at the eclipse. If she didn't know that, I think eclipse glasses were probably not available widely at the time. Now they're ubiquitous. I don't really know what she was thinking. I just know I never got to see it, and that was something that really bugged me as a kid.
Is this one of these things that you remember vividly from that day, or is that people have recounted to you that this happened when you were 5?
I remember vividly from the day.
Walk me through the memories.
Well, I knew this was going to happen. I heard about it. I was looking forward to it. And don't get me wrong, my mom, brilliant woman. But there wasn't, people just didn't talk enough about it. And I remember her closing the blinds one by one and the curtains. That's.
Do you remember you saying, "What are you doing"?
No, at the time
You were 5.
I was 5, and so I sort of listened to her, and and maybe she even had a point in the sense we didn't have eclipse glasses, and without eclipse glasses, you shouldn't be looking at it. That's true. But nevertheless, I would have at least liked to see that it gets dark, which you can totally do without glasses. The glasses are just for looking directly at the sun. If you're not looking directly at the sun, you don't need the glasses. And so, but she, people, I wouldn't say it's her in particular. People then didn't know, but now we know.
I'm going to put on my eclipse glasses now for this next question. Can't see you, can't see anything. I'm looking around the studio. I see nothing, which makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's what they're for. They're to block out the light. I mean, the problem with the sun is that it's incredibly bright. It is so bright, it will burn your retinas. And that is true every day of the year. You never want to look directly at the sun. That's just a terrible thing to do. But your eyes naturally know not to do that.
That feels like something that's come up a lot lately, and it feels to me like an eclipse/sun/space misconception, right? There's nothing different about the sun today, right?
Exactly. There's nothing. You should never look directly at the sun. It is too bright for your eyes. You'll have eye damage. And I think during the eclipse, people are super keen to look at the sun because you want to see the sun appear as a crescent as the moon's disk passes in front of it. You want to see that crescent shrink until totality. That's a very interesting, beautiful sight. But you can't do it without glasses because even a sliver of the sun is still super bright and will still cause eye damage if you stare at it for a long time. So wear the glasses as the sun is disappearing and the moment it reappears. During totality, you don't need the glasses.
So for those 90 seconds roughly here in Montreal or so, right? Totality, when the moon is completely obscuring the sun, we can take off the glasses.
Yes, and
we should if we want to see anything.
Exactly, because the glasses block everything. So you will see absolutely nothing through the glasses once the sun is gone. And that's how you know it's safe to take them off. In Montreal, as you said, it's about 85 seconds of totality, a minute, 25 seconds. And during that time, if you want to see the solar corona, which of course is always present.
I do, but tell me what the solar corona is.
Yeah, it's just outside the disk of the sun, the normal disk of the sun that you think of as the bright circle. There is wispy white, extremely hot gas. It's always present. The corona is always there, but your eyes can never see it because you can't look directly at the sun. And also because the sun's light is so incredibly bright, you just couldn't see the dim corona next to it. But when the sun is occulted by the moon, that's your opportunity to see the corona, and it's spectacular.
That is Victoria Kaspi, Vicky, professor of physics, Lauren Trottier Chair in Astrophysics and Cosmology at McGill, director of the Trottier Space Institute, which is based at McGill. If you've got questions, if you have questions about the eclipse, if you have questions about space, give us a call. Vicky is going to answer those questions, not me, so you're going to get a good answer. If you want to tell us about your plans for the eclipse, because I'm really curious about where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, who you're going to be with. Phone numbers 514-597-4500. Toll free is 1-877-597-4500. Text lines 514-566-9066. Where are you going to be?
Well, I will be on McGill campus, which makes sense because we have a great event being planned there for students, family, staff, everybody. Probably lots of people from downtown core will come. And I plan to be there. My kids are going to come and hang out with me.
No way.
Yeah, I'm very excited by that. They're going to come. Well, 2 of them are McGill students, so it's not really crazy. The third one is at Université de Montreal, and she'll be coming across the hill to hang out with her mom.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, that's very cool. I've heard some people say, well, I'm just going to watch it by myself. Other people obviously are going to one of the big events around. Any thoughts? Now, I know that you're sort of linked with one of these big events, but people say, no, it's okay. I'm just going to watch it by myself. Do you think there's value in sort of watching it in a communal space?
That's an interesting question. I think it really depends on your personality, on the person. It's for some people, I think eclipses, it's a really spectacular and maybe even a little bit spiritual experience. For others, you want to be part of the group. You want to share it. I know I've seen videos of people who, eclipse chasers who go and in the moment of totality, they're cheering, they're screaming because it's so spectacular, and it's just a fantastic. For some people, the crowd enhances the whole experience, and for others, they might want quiet, peace, really just to take it all in, give it thought. What is, for some people, I think there could be meaning. I'm a scientist, so I tend to think about it as a.
I've heard of people crying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it could be very emotional. When it's dramatic. It's truly dramatic. I think probably for some people you appreciate, the power of nature. I think it could be a very emotional experience for some people, and they may prefer to do that alone.
I have heard again. I've never seen one, and I've been like everybody else, sort of trying to soak in other people's experiences. What is it like? What were they feeling? People say often that it sort of makes them think we are tiny in all of this vastness. You, through your work, I wonder, do you think you're going to think that today? Is that something that you think all the time as you were looking out into these distant reaches of the universe? Does that make sense? That sort of feeling of like we are just this tiny speck? Do you think you're going to sort of be going through that today? Perhaps a bit. I mean, in my research, in fact, my research is really based far outside the solar system. In fact, far outside the galaxy. So, the solar system, it looks pretty small from that perspective. So, here on Earth, the moon and the sun, that's pretty impressive. But for us, that's, if you're thinking about things that are, billions of light years away instead of light seconds away, it's a different experience. But I think... You know what the headline of this part is? McGill astrophysicist poo-poos eclipse.
No,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I do not mean to poo-poo it at all. Not at all. I think it is definitely a reminder, maybe not as a speck, but as our place, what our place is in the universe and how vast it is. To me, though, it also signifies something different, and that is the power of science. I mean, this eclipse, this total eclipse, we've been preparing at McGill for this for the last 5 years. We've known to the minute, to the second when it was going to happen. And, honestly, you can predict eclipses for the next, I don't know, 10,000 years, very, very precisely, probably even longer than that. This is something, where science really, really understands, many aspects of the universe. This is proof. I mean, everybody's taking us seriously when we say this is going to happen, and it will. And I have zero doubt, and that's because science works.
That is Victoria Kaspi. This is Radio Noon, and we are coming to you on Eclipse Day, getting you ready, getting us ready. We're going to go now to one of the places that is also in the path of totality, also still here in Montreal. We're going to talk with CBC reporter Kwabena Oduro. He is on the line from Parc Jean Drapeau. Kwabena, hi there.
Hey, Sean.
So people are probably heading there already. What's it like right now?
So first off, I'll tell you that getting here was kind of hard because of the traffic. Like, you get on the island and everyone is just trying to figure out where to go, where to park. So you could imagine that there are a lot of people here. The other thing is right now I'm sitting along the water and a lot of people are here with their families. A lot of people have their telescopes out. I spoke to one man and he says that he put a filter on his telescope so he can look at it. Another person has like a telescope tripod, but they're putting their camera on it with the filter because they want to see if they can get a time lapse of when the eclipse happens. And I spoke to some other people and they're just excited to be part of history. And some people are just here even just trying on the glasses, trying to see if they can see anything with the regular sun. And people are just happy, smiling. The weather is beautiful, Sean, and you should be here.
I'm going to definitely watch the eclipse from somewhere. I'm not going to sit here in the studio. That's for certain. I'm not sure where I'm going to head. But so it sounds like you're saying, though, quite a few people there already, anticipating probably way more people as we get a little bit closer to the event. Have you had a chance to speak with any of the people there about their plans, about their stories, what you're hearing from them?
Yeah, Sean. So I'm actually sitting here with Jenna Aquino. She lives in Verdun, but she decided to come to Jean Drapeau to watch the event.
Okay.
So Jenna, why Jean Drapeau?
We were pretty indecisive this morning, but we decided on Jean Drapeau because we wanted a little bit of balance between having the whole community out here and seeing it with a bunch of people, but also still being by nature, and you have the river here. So we're a little bit away from all the main action in the park, just enjoying the view and waiting for it to happen.
What are you most looking forward to today?
Aside from experiencing total darkness in the middle of the day for the first and probably last time of our lives, definitely going to look for some like solar eclipse shadows on the ground. I've heard that that's a cool phenomenon. See if we can get some videos of that. And also just happy to be outside on the first like 18-degree sunny day of the year here.
So what's your setup like? Do you have just glasses here? What are you doing to get the full experience?
Yeah, we've got glasses. We've got extra glasses so we can use them as hopefully they'll work little filters for our cameras to take photos. We've got carrot cake. We've got books. So we're here for the day. Just ready to enjoy it.
And final question for you. What do you want other Montrealers to know about your experience? What would you tell them to enhance their experience?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Get outside. The birds are chirping today. It really adds to the entire ambiance. So, just be in nature to view it if you possibly can.
Thank you very much, Jenna.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So you can hear, Sean, Jenna's very excited, and I've spoken to some other people who seem just as excited as Jenna for the time to come when the eclipse finally comes here. There's a lot of anxiousness, a lot of anticipation for the big historic moment.
We're going to head out in a little while. We're going to talk about some of the other events not in Montreal because I think we're going to head out to the townships and to the Beauce. Can you tell us a little bit more about other events in the city?
Yeah, so one of the events that I know that is happening, the Montreal Science Center, just across from us at Jean Drapeau, is having something at the Old Port. They're expecting over 20,000 people to be there. They said they will be handing out glasses. And what's interesting there, they'll also have 2 Cirque du Soleil acrobats who are going to roam around the crowd, and they're going to build little figurines for people and just interact with people. And then they also have their animators. So they have about 12 binoculars with filters on them for the solar eclipse, and they're going to give them to people so that people can experience it like that. And then you just have people who are just finding different big parks like Parc La Fontaine, Angrion Park, and other parks just to watch the eclipse. So there's events, but people are just doing some things that are intimate with just their friends, like Jenna and her best friend over here.
Quibina, thank you so much for bringing all of this to us. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Quibina Oduro, who is live at Parc Jean Drapeau, one of the places where you can head to see the eclipse in a couple of hours. Another place, McGill. With me in studio, Victoria Kaspi, who's the director of the Trottier Space Institute at McGill. You got acrobats?
I don't think we have any acrobats at McGill.
But you got lots of other stuff. We
have lots of other stuff, yeah. There's lots of activities set up for kids. There is... This is all done by graduate students and our Trottier Space Institute and Department of Physics staff. We have pinhole cameras to view it. We have solar scopes.
What's a solar scope?
It's a telescope. You heard if you put special filter on the telescope, then it's won't damage the telescope, and you can look through it. You can see the disk of the sun. I know they've made some papier-mâché planets, some really large ones. They're great. One of our graduate students took care of that. I think at McLennan Library also they have a rare book collection with some interesting old tales. I haven't actually seen it myself, but of eclipses. I think that's available at McLennan Library until 2:30 p.m. today. So I'm also of interest to some people, I'm sure. We are going to head to the phones. We're going to go to Kitchener, Ontario. So I guess on the toll-free line, 1-877-597-4500. We've got Don here. Hi, Don.
Hello.
Don, how much eclipse are you getting in Kitchener today?
Oh, we've got cloud cover now, but there are expectations that it will lift before the eclipse.
Okay, good. I hope so. I hope so for your sake and for everybody there. Did you have a question, a comment? Did you want to talk about your plans?
I have a question that I've been mulling over. Maybe I should be able to figure it out on my own, but I haven't been able to.
Okay.
As I understand it, the eclipse is seen first in places like Mexico, then it moves east to places like Niagara Falls, and then Montreal, and then the Maritimes. But that's the opposite direction that the sun is moving. Both the sun and the moon move west, not east. So I'm trying to sort out just how this eclipse works.
Now, would you like me to answer that, or would you like Victoria Kaspi? I'm just checking. I think it's a good idea if she answers it. Yeah, Victoria?
Well, so it's a great question. What the eclipse is the path of totality. So it's a shadow. And so it's the relative motions. You're quite right, but if you were to sort of sketch it out, you can have it go in this direction, as you know it must, just because you're viewing the shadow, and it's exactly how it falls is related to the node of where the two, when you have this eclipse, you have to have the three in a line. But you might ask the question, why don't we have eclipses every single month? Why don't you always have an eclipse? Because the moon, you have new moon once a month. That's when the moon is basically, between the Earth and the sun. Now, we don't have eclipses every single month because the moon's orbit is not exactly in the same plane as the orbit of the Earth around the sun. It's a 5-degree tilt, a slight tilt.
This is quite a combination of things happening all at once, right?
Yes, yeah. And so to get the total eclipse, you need the shadow. You need, first of all, the moon to be very close to where those two planes intersect. And you need the shadow to fall exactly where it does. And so the motion, the way it goes, is of the shadow. It's not the moon itself. I mean, it is the moon, but it's the shadow of the moon.
Don, great question. Thank you for calling in. And enjoy the eclipse there in Kitchener. On Radio Noon today, we're talking about the eclipse. We're getting you ready. We're talking about space. Phone number 514-597-4500. Toll free is 1-877-597-4500. It is 12:30. Time right now for a quick look at your news and weather. Here's Joanne Bailey.
The Trudeau government is rolling out a $73 billion plan to upgrade and modernize the Canadian military. Primary focus is on defending Arctic sovereignty, and the Prime Minister says the plan includes new submarines, long-range missiles, and early warning aircraft. And the opposition Quebec Solidaire still hopes its bill to better protect older people from eviction will win over the Legault government. Bill 198 would prevent an eviction for anyone 65 or older who's lived in the same apartment for at least 5 years. In the weather forecast from Environment Canada, in Montreal, it's 13 degrees, mainly sunny today. We're expecting a high of 16. Overnight, partly cloudy, a low of 3. Eastern Townships, 13 degrees right now and sunny, a high expected of 15. Overnight, a few clouds, a low of -4. In the Quebec City area, it's 11 degrees. It's sunny. Winds are from the west at 30 kilometers an hour. High today of 16. Overnight clear, a low of -2. And finally in the Gaspé, it's 4 degrees and sunny now, becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon. A bit of wind, a high of 5. Overnight, partly cloudy with a low of -4. Now back to Radio Noon.
Thanks very much. That's Joanne Bailey from the CBC Montreal newsroom. This is Radio Noon. We're talking about the eclipse. We are live on the radio and wherever you usually hear us. We're live with video on the CBC Montreal website and on YouTube. Just look for CBC Quebec. My guest in studio right now is Victoria Kaspi, who is a professor of physics at McGill, Lauren Trottier Chair in Astrophysics and Cosmology, director of the Trottier Space Institute. Phone number is 514-597-4500. Toll free is 1-877-597-4500. Text line 514-566-9066. We're going to go back to the phones. We're going to go downtown. Izzy is here. Hi, Izzy.
Hello. I was wondering, I made a pinhole box because I wasn't organized enough to get glasses, but everybody, your guest included, has said once the sun is completely covered, you can take the glasses off if you have them. If I'm using a pinhole box with my back to the sun, at what point do I know I can take the box down and turn around?
It's a good question. You want to be sure that all of the disk of the sun is gone. So with your pinhole, you should be able to see that if you have it lined up right. You know, you won't see any light from the sun, and then the sky will be dark. And at that moment, you can turn around. Now, if you see a small, tiny bit of it, it's not terrible. Quickly look away. But for that 1 minute 25 seconds, you're safe. So if the sky is totally dark, nothing in your pinhole camera, it's safe. But not for too long.
Super. Thanks so much.
Thanks very, very much for the question. Again, phone number 514-597-4500. That's the local number. We're going to get to some more of your text questions in just a second. Vicki, I was thinking, I was asking a second ago about the merits of watching the eclipse solo or in a big group. For me, I'm thinking, I don't trust myself to know when it's safe to look at the sun. But if I'm with a lot of people, I figure there's going to be somebody who's going to know when it's okay.
It's true. I mean, people will know because the sky will be totally dark. Everybody will have their eclipse glasses off, and they'll all be screaming and cheering if you come, to a place with lots of people. Yeah. So it will be obvious then. If you're alone, just look through the glasses. You don't see the sun anymore. And the sky is dark. It's safe. Briefly.
85 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, text line here is 514-566-9066. A bunch of you have been sending in questions. Got my producer, Aislinn May, here to read out some of those questions. I've got a copy of them also. So, Aislinn, read them out in their totality. No pun intended. Slight pun intended. And then we'll go through them. We'll get to as many as we can after. What do you got?
Okay, so there's a couple about the glasses, as you can imagine. So someone right off the bat just says, please explain how you can safely test these Eclipse glasses. There's another text that says, is there a way to make your own glasses to view the eclipse? I've heard about cereal box methods, but I'm unsure if they're actually safe. And someone else also texted about glasses asking if shade 12 welding masks are okay to view the eclipse. We have a text from Jason in St. Henry who says, is it fine to just watch it from a small park near my house? In other words, does it really matter from where we watch the totality? And then another one that asks, what exact time can we expect the totality? So those 80 seconds of safety.
Okay.
Aislinn, thank you for those.
Thanks.
Thanks to everybody who sent them. I'm just going to put out my usual plea, which I forgot to do earlier. So when you text, please also include your name, where you're texting from. Vicky, let's go through some of these here.
Sure.
So someone wants to know, please explain how to safely test the Eclipse glasses.
Well, any day of the year, you can use your Eclipse glasses to look at the sun. In fact, I took my kids out yesterday just to have a look so that they could see. When you look through the Eclipse glasses at the sun directly, no eclipse at all, you'll see a circle. That's the only thing you're going to see because nothing else is bright enough to get through the glasses.
I think people are worried about ones that are not quite up to the right standard, though. So is there a way to sort of know other than what's stamped on the glasses?
Look, I don't want to, if you have official glasses, that's good. The truth is what you really want to do is block out the sun's light. And so, the question about the welding mask, I really have no idea how opaque or how transparent it is. The sun is super bright, maybe brighter than, the welding torch, whatever it's used for. So I don't know how to answer that question.
I've seen some people saying certain welding masks would be okay and others not. I don't know what shade 12 means for a welding glass.
Unfortunately, neither do I.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't answer that question.
We get another question here. Is there a way to make your own glasses to view the eclipse? I've heard about cereal box methods.
Well, I would use you could use cereal box as the last person who called in as a pinhole camera. Yeah. I would not. I would be very, very careful with that. I would use it as a pinhole. In other words, hold it up to the light projected and look at the projection of the light on a little screen on whatever the other side of the box or something. The inside where there's no pattern, no writing or anything, so you could see it. That's how I would use that. And that could be, obviously if you're not looking directly at the sun, you're looking at the pinhole light coming through onto a screen. Totally safe.
You're safe. Right. Jason from St. Henry wanted, I guess your advice, is it fine, and fine is in quotation marks, to just watch it from a small park near my house? In other words, does it really matter from where you watch the totality? Yeah,
well, the only thing you want to be aware of is that there shouldn't be a tall building blocking the sun. There shouldn't be a tree blocking. If you want to see the corona and you want to see the sun as a crescent with your eclipse glasses on, then you want to be sure it's not occulted by something here on Earth. That's the only reason you want to go to a place that's nice big sky. But if not, then there's absolutely no reason you can't view it from the park or from wherever you are.
Okay. And then someone is asking about the exact time for the totality, which I should have here and I could look up here. Do you have it?
I do. It's 3:26.
For those 85 seconds?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. We got another text here that we just got. Someone asked, if you were on the moon, would a solar eclipse be any more interesting than viewing a sunset on Earth?
What an interesting question. So if you're on the moon at the time of a solar eclipse on Earth, is that the question? So
I don't know.
Okay, so if
you can take this anywhere you want to take it.
Let's say today you had somebody on the moon. Would they, what would they see? Well, it would depend where they are on the moon. So if they're on the solar side of the moon, it would be very, very bright, and they would see a very bright sun, in that direction. And because they're on that direction, they would see an Earth on the other side, but it would be hard to see because most of the moon would be blocking you. You'd be on the surface of the moon and you'd be looking at the ground, so you probably wouldn't see much Earth. Now, if you're on the Earth side, you'd be in total darkness because it's the night side of the moon. Mm. And so you'd see the Earth. You'd see the Earth in front of you, and you'd probably see the shadow on the Earth. Now, you could also be, let's say, at the day-night line on the moon. That'd be kind of cool. And then you could sort of see, it'd be like, then it would be a sunset, but the sunset is different on the moon because there's no atmosphere on the moon. So here on Earth, when you view the sunset, sometimes you see spectacular reds and pinks and oranges and those colors. It's not because the sun has changed color during the sunset. It's because you're viewing the sun's rays through the Earth's atmosphere. And there's what we call Rayleigh scattering, which is the interaction of the light from the sun with atmospheric molecules, dust, and that sort of thing. And
So
then,
Earth might be a better place to watch the eclipse than from the moon?
oh, for sure.
Okay. Nick, there's your answer to that. Phone number again, 514-597-4500.
Footnote, depends where on Earth.
Right.
I mean, you want to be in the path of
In the
totality.
path of totality, yeah.
Exactly.
I don't want to make the people bad who are listening today and not in, because it's too late now if you're not in the path of totality. No, you've got an answer to that?
Well, I just want to say that even if you're not in the path of totality, it's still going to be pretty amazing. The sky will still get pretty dark. It depends, there's a percentage totality. If it's 95%, you're not going to get to see the corona. That's true.
Yeah.
But the sky will get pretty dark. And if you have eclipse glasses, it's safe to see the sun as a tiny sliver, which is pretty impressive.
I listened to so many interviews over the last few days, people saying, no, you got to be in totality. You must be in totality. Drop whatever you're doing, change whatever plans you've made, disrupt your life. You got to get to totality.
Well, I think one of the spectacular things to see is the corona. That's very beautiful. And, they say also it will get quite cold, at the time. Suddenly the sun's rays are not there to warm you. And but that'll happen pretty much also if it's 99 or 90% eclipse. You'll notice that too. They say the wildlife sometimes reacts. That sometimes the birds get very quiet because I guess they think it's darkness. It's a very strange thing for them. So that's interesting to hear. And if it's not totality, it's 95%. I'm imagining, and here I've never witnessed it, but I would imagine you'd still have some reaction from the wildlife because 95% is still pretty dark.
Yeah, they'd be thinking about going to bed, maybe, as opposed to like, oh, it's bedtime.
Possibly, yes.
Let's go to the phone lines here. Let's, number 514-597-4500. Victoria, you're going to have to leave in 3 minutes to get back to McGill, so probably the last call. Let's go to Chateauguay. Ronnie is here. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, Ronnie. Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Not too bad.
Did you have a question, comment?
No, I was calling about somebody asked about the welding shade.
The Shade 12 welding mask.
Yeah, you're better off with the Shade 14. Shade 14 will definitely be the best shade in order to watch it with a welding mask.
Are you a welder?
Yes, I've been a welder for about 16 years.
Oh, nice. Okay. And what are your plans for the eclipse?
I'll be watching it with my welding mask on, Shade 14.
Okay. Where are you going to be?
Just in Chateauguay, right in front of our house with the family there.
All right. Enjoy. Thank you so much. And
oh, I have a quick question for Ronnie. So is that the most opaque welding shade there is?
For certain masks, there's a couple of them where you can actually go higher, but Shade 14 would be the best, in my opinion. Any darker than that, you won't see much. Any lighter than that, you have a potential of hurting your eyes.
Enjoy.
Like when you do it with welding, it all depends on what kind of welding you're doing. So some are a little bit brighter than others. So to me, if you want to watch it with a welding mask, put it on Shade 14.
Okay. Ronnie, thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. Have a great day.
Phone number again, 514-597-4500. Victoria's going to leave in a second, but you can still call. You can talk about your plans and where you're going to be watching and what you're going to be wearing on your eyes. Victoria, you have shown me up here. You came in to bring the astrophysics eclipse expertise, but then you asked Ronnie a better question than I did, proving you can do your job and my job better.
You inspire me, Sean. It's an inspiration.
So you're headed off to McGill.
Yes.
We've got 45 seconds here. This is this day where everybody is excited about the eclipse and about space. How valuable is that?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic because, it's so rare that people really take a moment to appreciate the wonders of nature, the wonders of science. We take so much of it for granted. I think, it's a lot of sometimes mistrust of science. And here, in all its glory, I think is something that everybody can truly. It's very hard to not appreciate this if you're willing to open the blinds. to me, I think it's really a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for everybody to enjoy nature at its finest.
We are so glad that you were able to come in here. Now go, be on your way. Enjoy the rest of the day, the event in McGill. Thank you for being here.
And thank you for having me.
Victoria Kaspi, Professor of Physics at McGill, the Lauren Trottier Chair in Astrophysics and Cosmology at McGill, Director of the Trottier Space Institute. We are continuing here till 1 o'clock in Radio Noon, talking about the eclipse, getting you ready for the eclipse. We're going to stay talking about the eclipse now, but we're going to head to the townships. We're going to go live right now to Bishop's University, where our colleague Melina Levesque is standing by. Hi, Melina.